Hi, welcome to PHP and MySQL video. This is a list of suggestions how we should use this video. The notes for this video can be found here at this URL, which is loaded here. So we finished insert to the database in the last video. Sorry, we finished select record from the database in the last video. Now we're going to do insert. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is, of course, make sure that your XM is open, and then switch on your Apache web server and MySQL database server. You should have no problem. All right, and then minimize it, don't close it. The next thing you want to do is to bring out your Windows Explorer. So I'm just going to right click and left click Windows Explorer and go to your C drive, temp, my PHP. So we were working on eg008 and we finished select. Now we are going to do insert. Okay, so before we do that, let's go to PHP MyAdmin. You can click on this to go there, or you can actually use this URL to get there. Both will get there. Okay, so let's try to use this one. Maybe in the next video we do it that way. So click on admin here. This should go to your web browser, and then remember the password we use is Harry and Elbow Monkey. So you key in that, and then you are in. And let me make this bigger. Okay, so this size is getting too big. Let me resize it. All right, so we are doing Kung Fu Panda Shop database. And we did a select in the last video, and we select everything from products. Okay. And now we want to insert something. All right. So we can insert it here. So let's say we want to insert a record, which is category 1, action figures, and the product code, and it's a log chain action figures, and then there's a price to it. So we can we can do the SQL here, but the objective is actually do the SQL in the PHP file. Okay. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is make sure the insert SQL statement works. Let me just open a new file, and then we are going to put the insert statement there. And I'm sure everybody knows SQL, so you insert into products table. Insert into products table. And we want to specify the field we want to insert. Okay, we want to insert into category ID, product code, product name, and list price. Product ID is auto increment if you look at the structure here. So product ID is an auto increment when we create it, so we do not need to insert the product ID. Right? So we say we want to insert category ID. Correct spelling, capital letters, lowercase must be the same. Case sensitive. List price. Values. Okay. Category ID is 1, which is a number. Product code is a string. Name is a string. And list price is a number. Okay. So we are going to create a log chain action figure. So the type of all this can be found here. Integer, decimal place, varchar, which are strings. Okay. All right. Keep your finger crossed. Oh, sorry. I'm going to do double quote. All right. Keep your finger crossed. Copy this. Go to SQL and go. Okay, one row inserted. All right, so if you look at the structure, look at the products again, you can see that log chain action figure is inserted here. And the product ID is 12 is automatically created for you. So you can delete this and you try to insert again, go to SQL, Control V to paste. Of course, make sure you are selecting the Kung Fu Panda Shop database. And then when you browse, you realize that log chain is inserted again, but this time the product ID is 13, not 12. Although MySQL do auto increment for you, they will not overwrite the old product ID. Okay, mainly to prevent the purpose of if you use a primary key to identify a product and somebody delete a product, add a new product, you will not be treated as the old product. So this thing is always auto increment. Okay, if you do auto increment, they will always make sure that the product ID will not be the same as the old one. Okay. Of course, if you do your own, if you don't like to use auto increment in SQL database, you use your own ID. You just need to make sure that the primary key does not repeat itself. For example, you use somebody's say social security number or student number, you should never reuse those numbers. Okay, let me delete this again. Okay, let me delete this again. I did not click here. I click here. That's why they asked me to confirm it. All right. And so every time you press the delete button, all they need to do is generate a delete SQL statement for you. So this is what the PHP MyMin does. Okay, now you actually do not want to do it here. You want to do it in a PHP file. Okay, so here, remember in select, let me open select real quick. Remember in select, we actually created a HTML document and then do the select here. Okay, we are not going to include a HTML in our insert. All we are going to do is we are going to create a pure PHP file with no HTML, do the insert, and then direct the user back to the select, okay, but include the select there. All right, so we are going to create a new text document, right-click new text document, eg008d insert dot php. Okay, I hit enter too fast. Okay, when I hit enter, they ask me, "Are you sure?" I say yes. All right, and then open this insert in Notepad++. Make sure the extension is PHP. Okay, so we created the ad insert.php and then we key in the code here. Okay, we can copy some of the code that we wrote the other time. So in the select, we require once the connect database. So first we actually do the connection to the database, which was written some time ago. If you remember 8a, what this does is actually create the PDOs object, which is called DB, and we are going to use it here. So when you include require once, this code actually appears on top here. Okay, and then we are going to create a variable called query, and then let's hard code the stuff we have written just now and put it here. Okay, and realize that I use the single quote outside and I use double quote inside. okay, so that you will follow the syntax rules. So we have a query, and then we execute. Create a new variable called statement, and then use the DB, which is the PDO object, and call the method inside called prepare. Execute, and close cursor. Okay, so after you're done, you can go in and check what's going on, okay? Let's see what's going on. Control S to save. Control S to save. And then we are going to our typical here. Type in the URL localhost myPHP. Go to example 008 and look at the insert. Nothing happens, but nothing shows here. But if you come over here and reload, you get a new logchain inserted here, 14. Okay? But you cannot insert another logchain because product code needs to be unique. If you look at the structure, product code is actually that does not allow duplicate. Okay? It's not shown here, but if you look at the CreateDB, product code is unique. Okay, so you cannot insert another product code. What that means is you cannot keep inserting logchain over and over again unless you change logchain here to something else. But you can delete this and try to insert logchain. They just keep incrementing the product ID. All right. Okay. So there are a couple of things here. First thing is, this is hard coding. Hard coding is not good because when you actually insert something into the database, you don't key in the value here. You get a value from a user input. Normally it's a form. Okay, so we have to save the category 1 into a variable, the product code into a variable. The product name into a variable. And price into a variable. And you can see that there are numbers, strings, and all the good stuff. Okay, numbers and strings. And then you have to replace this with something else. And we can technically just put a variable here, but that would open up to a lot of chances for SQL injection attacks. So PHP actually advise you to do something like this. Oh, sorry. Wrong. Category ID, code, name, and price. And then instead of, and then you do something called bind value to bind the value to the variables there. Okay. So you bind 4 values in category ID, to the category ID. I'm doing a lot of Control C, Control V, okay? I don't like to type because human typing make a lot of mistakes. So if you copy, even you make a mistake in your previous code, it will still work. Name, name, price, and price. Okay, and finally, you want to actually show the output here instead of coming here to check. You can actually do an include. Again, include is not the right way to pass controls, but it just what it does is copy the code from AC select and paste it below here. Control S to save. Okay. And then come over here, go back, try to write the insert again. Now, oops, we have error. And line 11. And of course, when you look at it, you realize that, hey, bind value is not recognized, right? And then you realize that, hey, I spelled value wrong. And when I repeat it, it's spelled wrong like 4 times. Okay, so I have to replace all this. Control S to save, and now reload. Okay, so log_chain is inserted, and because I include the select, they will just select everything. But if I run this again, it's not going to work because log_chain, the product code is a unique field, so I have to delete this log_chain first. And if you come over here and reload, you'll see log_chain here. Okay? All right, I'm going to delete this again. And if you go back to your select, the log_chain is gone. But if you insert, you'll go in again, okay? So we finished the insert real quick. And of course, this is a very simple exercise. Later, your examples will be much more complicated, okay? So in the next video, we are going to do update, okay? Thanks for watching. See you soon.